Hello, my name is Dylan Craig, and I'm a student who currently studies Creative Media, Level 3. Creative Media focuses on all kinds of subjects, such as graphic design, working in radio, music, and my focus, film. I've had a love for film for as long as I can remember. From the classic westerns, epic sci-fi hits, mobster movies, slasher flicks, and superhero blockbusters. I love it all. My home country of Northern Ireland is quite notable for film and television production. You might know it from, Game of Thrones maybe? But I want to take a look back at how we got here. So this is the Northern Ireland film industry, a history. In 1935, Strand Cinema opened in East Belfast. It's the first cinema in Northern Ireland. It was the first time that film had been brought to this part of the world. It had an Art Deco design, very inspired by the Harland and Wolff shipyards that it was built near. It was closed down and underwent some very harsh renovation in the 1960s and the 1970s. It then reopened in 1984 as a concert hall, with much of its original features stripped away. However, in 1999 it was renovated once again and reopened, serving its original purpose as a cinema once again, where it still stands today. I've also filmed stuff there before as well. In the second half of the 20th century, a conflict known as the Troubles absolutely ravaged this country. So not much went on here in terms of filmmaking. Belfast was one of the notorious 4Bs of the world that was considered a no-go in terms of visiting. So there isn't really much to tell in terms of film there. However, the Troubles did inspire plenty of films, some of which even did shoot here, such as Hunger, starring Michael Fassbender in 2008. In 1998, Northern Ireland Screen was founded and it became the biggest agency of film and television production here in Northern Ireland. It acquired the Paint Hall around the 2000s, which now stands as Titanic Studios, the most famous film studio here in the country. Northern Ireland Screen also funds numerous projects around the country that are focused on cinema, such as Cinemagic, Belfast Film Festival, and even Queen's Film Theatre. Queen's Film Theatre is a venue right next to the university campus which shows all kinds of independent feature films. It also is where Queen's film students will have their classes, and it also has a film studio out the back too. I've filmed there as well. In 2009, a film titled Your Highness, directed by David Gordon Green and written by Danny McBride, as well as starring McBride alongside James Franco and Natalie Portman, was shot here. It's filmed on historical locations such as Cairn Castle and Shane's Castle as well. Following this, a show by the name of Game of Thrones began production here in 2010. But I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it though. It used the Paint Hall as its primary filming location. At least one scene from every single episode from Game of Thrones was shot in the Paint Hall, which, as I said, now stands as Titanic Studios. Game of Thrones also shot all over the country and outdoor locations. There's so many to choose from, such as the Mourne Mountains, Castle Ward, Saint Field, Tollymore, Cairn Castle, Macramorn, Shane's Castle, Ballintoy, and Moneyglass. Game of Thrones is perhaps the biggest production to have ever occurred here, beginning in 2010 and wrapping up in 2018. It has inspired many museums and tours, all targeted towards tourism. It was just that massive. In Belfast, there are numerous glass mosaics depicting famous scenes and iconic characters, which is known as Glass of Thrones. Initially, Game of Thrones was going to be shot entirely in Scotland, but due to Northern Ireland's vast studio space and tax credits, HBO decided that it would shoot right here. Once Game of Thrones ended, the industry began quickly moving on to other things. However, Game of Thrones did wrap at the end of the 2010s, and in the early 2020s, as you may know, a certain event happened which caused a lot of things to shut down, including our film industry. However, as we got back on our feet again, things naturally began to pick back up. Robert Eggers' Viking epic The Northman was also shot here, as well as the upcoming Dungeons & Dragons film, Honor Among Thieves. Northman stars Alexander Skarsgård and Anya Taylor-Joy, and Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves stars Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, some pretty notable names who have came over here to shoot some pretty notable films. A lot has been done here and will continue to be done here in the coming years. Northern Ireland is set to host the production of Blade Runner 2099, an upcoming series by original Blade Runner films director Ridley Scott. A lot of independent and original films also have been shot here and will continue to shoot here for many, many years to come. I have no doubt. It's been a long and interesting road with plenty more ahead. Keep an eye out for me as well in films such as Leave Me Alone, Diegesis, The Last Rifleman, The Unholy Lands, and hopefully many, many more to come in the future. As my path into the film industry continues, and as well as the path that Northern Ireland's film industry is currently on, I'm very interested to see what happens in the future as both my path and Northern Ireland film industry's paths merge and begin to move as one. It'll be a very exciting time, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I very much look forward to it. That's all from me now. Goodbye.